Hey, how are
Hey.
you doing?
Doing good.
I'm John Rivera.
I'm Sam Nelson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This is my resume.
Awesome.
Has all my information.
Okay. Fantastic. What are some of your strengths, you would say?
I would say some of my best strengths are communication and dependability. Now I work at Topgolf. So I have to work at the bays where there's 102 in total and there's 3 floors. So there's a lot of people that come in and out on a daily basis and everybody's coming for entertainment experience. So I had to learn how to understand that they have to have a good time. So when you get to the door and you're greeting them, you have to have a lot of energy. You have to let them know, hey, like, how are you doing? Greet them in and show them how to use the game. And if you don't do that job with enthusiasm and you don't work hard at it, then they won't have that same experience.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Well, strengths, yeah, are one thing, but what are your weaknesses, you would say?
I would say weaknesses are I tend to get sidetracked at times.
Right.
I have worked on this issue by staying focused, keeping my phone away, and keeping my phone away in particular to certain calls that I may be having. And just honestly, once I put my phone away, I think that I worked on that, but that is a weakness that I face.
Right. Awesome. That's a. How would your current or last boss, maybe even a professor, describe you as a person?
I think that they would describe me as a very honest person, a very trustworthy person, and a very hardworking person. I take a lot of pride in my work because I feel like whatever stage you work at and whatever job you work at, if you don't do your 100% best, then you're wasting your time and you're not going to grow to the next level.
Okay, fantastic. Speaking of your boss, what were your boss's responsibilities?
My boss's responsibilities were making sure that everybody got to the Let's Play desk and they paid their money. They got through with direction and they know what they're doing. Then next we have the concierge desk. And that's where I came in, where I would take people and I would take them to their bays. I would show them how to use the game, and I would also explain all the safety precautions so that when they would swing their clubs, they would make sure that nobody gets hurt.
Okay. Well, what's your opinion of your boss?
I loved my bosses, and my bosses were a huge reason why I learned my job very well. And they also showed me all the different pieces that were going on around me so that I understood that it's a bigger picture than just my job. And if I see little things that are out of place when I have time, I can fix those.
Awesome. How would your coworkers or subordinates describe you professionally as a person?
I would say I think that they would tell me that I'm dependable, and I think that they know that I'm trustworthy in the sense that if they're gonna run in behind with certain things, I understand how with different work days things kind of get busy, things get hectic, and I was always there for people if they were running behind or anything like that happened. And I also knew that I could depend on them if I was running behind on certain bays or different people were asking me for drinks, and I can do those certain things for them and not feel pressured.
Right. Why would you like to work for us? What draws you to our company?
I think that your company is fantastic because it gives me a chance to really work on my accounting skills. And I think that once I get my accounting skills down, I can have a long-term profession. And I also want to be able to move to the West Coast. And I think that accounting will give me a job that I can have different opportunities to travel the world.
Awesome, thank you. Is there any specific reason you'd like to leave your present employer?
There is no reason why I want to leave my present employer other than the fact that I want to see the world and I want to travel to different locations. I've had a great time working with them, and I know that my boss has shown me so many different ways to just go about a different workday and know what's ahead of me in my new job. And I think that I'm very ready for that and excited.
Okay, why should we hire you over the other finalists?
I think that you should hire me over the other finalists because I work harder than anybody at my other job, and I will continue to work harder. And this is the only time that I'll tell you if you hire me, because I always lead by example. And I also have a different job perspective because I was starting off at the bottom, but I slowly worked my way up in a business where entertainment is key. So if people aren't happy and people aren't having a good time, they're not going to pay the $35, $45, and $55 an hour pricing, depending on the time of day, for that experience if they're not having a good time. Okay. Because for the average person, $55 takes a lot of time to build. Right. And just to spend that in one afternoon and not have a lot of energy from the people that work there can be deflating, and that will bring your customer value down.
Okay. Say we hire you, what qualities or talents do you think you could bring to the job?
I know that I can bring communication, I can bring enthusiasm, I can bring energy, and most of all, I can bring hard work. All I can do is get in there and try to learn everything as fast as I can and get at it. That's all I can promise in the interview, but I know that I have the certain skill set that I can achieve whatever it is that you put in front of me.
Okay. Over the years, tell me about some of the accomplishments that you've made.
I used to play baseball, and I got several college offers to play as a catcher, but I turned those down because I wanted to focus on my education, and I went from environmental science, but unfortunately the EPA got closed, so I switched to business finance here, and ever since then I've been working on that, and I'm very excited to go into accounting or own my own business and be able to run the numbers behind that.
Okay. What is the most important contribution to your last or current employer, would you say?
May you repeat that question?
Of course. What is the most important contribution to your last or current employer?
Well, I think the most important contribution would be the fact that they showed me how to really run a business, and they showed me that if I keep the customer happy and if I make sure that they get what they're paying for. And different companies pay different values for their service, and you always have to at least match that dollar value, if not expand that farther. And I think that working at Jason's Deli in the past, they had very great standards and they were a fantastic company, but there weren't as many people coming through and they weren't expecting an entertainment experience, so it was less demanding as an employer. So having that perspective of somebody that's enthusiastic and having my employer show me the ropes of that really helped.
Awesome. How do you perform under deadline pressure, and could you give an example of that?
I feel like I perform better under deadline pressure because it's a test of how well I can handle my business and how well I can handle my work. And I feel like all the greatest employees are basically judged off of how well they work under pressure and when things aren't going well. Because any employee can work well under fantastic conditions, boss is not upset with anybody, the sky's great, good weather, all the customers are happy, anybody can do well in that.
Right.
But when customers are upset, it's raining outside, there's a long line, we have a 2-hour wait, people are paying money for this, and they decided to wait longer and come back, but they see that the line is still packed, and that can cause a lot of tension.
Okay, awesome. Say someone criticizes you. How would you react to that?
If somebody criticizes me, I would take it with the most value that I can, because if it's constructive criticism, I'm going to hear every single thing that they can. I'm going to try to take everything out of it, and I think that people cannot grow if they do not have other people showing them, hey, I think you're doing X, Y, and Z wrong, or I think you can do X, Y, and Z better. So I'm going to either show you that or at least let you be aware of that. If I am not aware of that, I'm not going to grow if somebody doesn't mention it. So I'm always going to be open to constructive criticism. But if it's negative criticism, then I usually just take it in and I stay calm and I try to stay professional no matter what. And if I feel like I am getting upset, then I will take a brief moment to maybe go to the restroom, but I've never had any experience in my work life that came anywhere close to that being necessary.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Say you were a part of a conflict or disagreement at work. How did you resolve that situation?
I've never had a conflict at work, but I've had very many times where management was very stressed out, the people at the Let's Play desk are stressed out, and there's certain people not doing their job very well, so there's a lot of tension. And when there's a lot of tension, there's potential for the customer to get short-ended because the employees aren't giving their utmost attention and their utmost positive energy because they're very stressed out about making sure everybody's taken care of. And understanding how to solve those problems with simple solutions such as communication, and as also certain people do not know how to communicate back in certain ways. So if you understand that certain people may struggle with that, building a bridge is the best way to do that.
Right. Okay. What are the two biggest problems you've encountered at your job, and how did you overcome those problems?
The two biggest problems I've encountered in my job is taking care of the wait list, and also keeping the guests happy and keeping the guests keeping the guests entertained when we're going up to the bays. It is easy at Topgolf to go up to the bay, have your customer pay their money, and walk up the 2 flights of stairs and not want to talk to them because you walked 150 people that same evening, and you're running out of things to say, you're running out of conversations to make. Every single person deserves to have a great entertainment and have a good conversation walking up to their bay. So being able to learn how to build that conversation and make small talk and keep people inclined, even if you're not feeling necessarily well, maybe certain things are very stressful and you have to run back and do something else. Building that strength and building that repetition of always doing that helped me greatly with that.
Okay, awesome. Think of a major crisis you faced at work. How have you handled that, if any situation?
There has never been a major crisis at work, but there have been certain situations where there have been medical emergencies. There was once a small child that swung their golf club, and on their backswing, they accidentally let go, and it struck a young woman. So we had to call the paramedics, and they came. That being said, I have not seen anything that was a crisis situation, thank God, but that is all I've seen in my life.
Okay, fantastic. Give me an example of a risk you've taken at your job, past or present, and how that risk turned out.
I've never taken a big risk that would make a big impact for the company, but I have done certain things to entertain guests when there is a large line. We have many volleyballs in the back, and we have very many beach balls. And a lot of people in line, they want to have fun, they want to be entertained, so we'll take those beach balls out, we'll take those volleyballs out, and we'll hit them over people in line, and we'll toss them back and forth. And we've built up a great skill in this so that we don't hit customers and we keep it fun. And doing things like that honestly makes it more fun for me to work there, and it makes it more fun for everybody, the customers, the management, because everything seems a little bit lighter. And when you're waiting in the line and you're upset and you're looking at your watch and you're looking at your wallet and you're thinking, this is a very expensive experience for me to be this bored, but then you see a couple of kids that lighten up the mood and they're doing their utmost effort, and they're putting everything towards keeping everything entertaining.
Right.
That shows me that as a company they care and they're willing to take that extra mile.
Okay, awesome. What is your managerial style like?
I've never been a manager. However, I feel like if given the opportunity, I can build a bigger opportunity for everybody in the company by keeping a mutual respect. I don't believe in managers having a very high status or feeling like they're above anybody, because when there's common communication, common teamwork, and a common goal, there is really no big person. If everybody understands the overall machine, what everybody needs to get done, and all the priorities as a company, it always seems more like a team than individual managers dictating everybody.
Okay. Have you ever hired employees, and if so, have they lived up to your expectations as a worker?
No, I have not hired any employees.
Okay, awesome. What type of performance problems have you encountered in people who report to you, if any, and how do you motivate them to improve?
I have not had anybody report to me in my work experience.
Fantastic. Describe a typical day at your present or last job that you've had.
A typical day at my current job, Topgolf, would be getting there, clocking in, and going to the concierge desk, waiting for certain customers to come in so that I can escort them to their bays and show them how to do the games, and also how to swing and have the safety precautions to be safe. Doing that over and over gets tiring, so sometimes if I feel like I want to switch, I can communicate at the Let's Play desk, and I can also switch with them and work the cash register, and they can come in and they can work the concierge and escort everybody up, and it always keeps it very light and it keeps it more fun, because if things are getting a little bit slow, things are getting a bit repetitive, you can always keep it fresh and have more energy working at Let's Play as opposed to feeling tired walking up the stairs all day at the concierge.
What is a book you've read recently?
A book I have read recently is The Tales of Science by James Patterson.
Awesome. What do you